Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Juggernaut wave, as we have a look today at X-Men's Marvel's Havoc. Havoc comes included with the other leg that we needed for Juggernaut. Also comes with some... oh, they're there again. Comes with the energy constructs that you can be added to his fists. Yes, we've seen these so very frequently. Inside the box, we have an image of Havoc there, featured also on both sides. Back of the package says, with control and precision, Havoc processes cosmic energy to send plasma waves blasting from his supercharged body. Down below, a total of 8 figures represent this wave. 7 figures only are required to build Juggernaut, but the full 8 figures are Wolverine, Kitty Pryde, Iceman, Marvel's Havoc, Marvel's Rogue, Marvel's Phoenix, Cable, and Deadpool. To check out more from the folks over at Hasbro, head over to www.hasbro.com. I want to also point out, too, that this figure, as well as all the other figures, are not recommended for ages 0 to 3. Sad, sad panda. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're going to get a better look at the Build-A-Figure Juggernaut wave, Marvel Legends series, Marvel's Havoc. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Standing next to Havoc at almost his same size is the other leg that we needed to build Juggernaut. Let's reach off camera. We'll grab Juggernaut right here and we'll plug in. Oh, and in the process, Spot's unpegged. Well, we just put the leg on first. There we go. And we'll put the torso back in place. So there's Juggernaut so far. Still need ourselves some arms. Still need ourselves a head. Juggernaut's, well, I guess he could still run, but he doesn't have the brain nor the eyes to tell him where exactly he can be running to. That would be a comical skit to watch. Maybe we can, I'll suggest that to Marvel as a possibility. All right, so let's have a look at Havoc. I quite like this figure. There's not really much that's added to this figure other than a core body and some additional paint. There's no additional sculpting. Other than really technically the head, there is no new sculpting at all here to Havoc. But almost through his simplicity, I think the figure turned out very, very good. Let's get the elephant out of the room first. Is there an elephant in the room? No, there's not an elephant literally in the room, but let's get the elephant out of the room first. Let's have a look at these. Havoc comes with them, and while I could normally just say, well, they're nicely sculpted, you know, as several different spiraling spheres or spiraling circles, we get these so often. This is like the equivalent of... trying to think of like the equivalent of, well, I guess like the Combiner Wars, where they were reusing mold after mold after mold, always the same mold, reused. I get that these can be shared around. You simply can just recolor them and share them amongst several different figures that, well, for one reason or another, could have energy being projected, could have magic being projected, but at some point, you kind of have to also think outside the box and come up with newer constructs as opposed to always the same go-to. Scarlet Witch has had these. Doctor Strange have had these. Of course, as well, I think the upcoming Sandman wave, which Spot will be looking at, I think even Shocker comes with these. Why would Shocker come with these? These look like something more magic-induced, not something that Shocker should come with. If anything, I don't think Havoc should even have come with these either. They should have sculpted something different. So instead of having these little balls, spheres around it, they should have actually just had maybe like a circle, and a circle, somewhat connected by like a clear plastic in between each one. So it just looked like a ripple, you know, instead of doing something like these. Then those rippled energy constructs could have easily been used with Shocker, as it seems, again, something more pertinent and more relevant to Shocker and Havoc. I don't see Shocker or Havoc really having these and making any sense whatsoever. I think these more magic, my own opinion of it, but I feel these are more magic based and less something like an energy ripple effect, which reads more to me for Havoc. These are, by the way, a soft rubbery plastic. Sometimes you do have to be careful though. Being that they are soft rubbery plastic, it also means that they're more prone to stress marks when trying to put them onto the figure. You could try to clip them on over the weight or over the wrist portion, or what you can also do too is take the hand off of Havoc, which sometimes can be a little more difficult. You can take that off that way, and you can clamp this on and then put the wrist or the hand back into the wrist section. So then you're not fighting and potentially breaking the construct by running it over his hand. I mean, again, it looks okay, but to me, doesn't really look like something Havoc should be wearing. Havoc should, if anything, have something similar to his torso, the little indication there, in the little decoration there in his torso. He should have something more closer to that and less looking like something like this. I know this has nothing really to do with the figure. This is an add-on accessory, but still, it doesn't really jive for me. It doesn't jive. Spot, you saying jive? It doesn't jive for me as something that should go with the figure. All right, so let's have a look at the rest of the figure. We haven't even really touched base on the figure itself. Again, the figure primarily a black color. Black sometimes is difficult for Marvel Legends because the colors jump all over the place. Case in point, if you look at like this section here, the section where the ab crunches as well as the top portion of the thigh is a shinier plastic. The torso, on the other hand, and the lower legs, or this section right here, is a more matte black. And then you have down below a darker black, which doesn't quite match to this, which doesn't quite match to the... I mean, from a distance, it reads all enough as one consistent black, but it does look a little jarring versus a all black figure. Simplistic, yes, but the silvers bring a lot of the extra oomph, I think, to the figure itself. I've always really liked the design of Havoc, the outrageous rings coming out from his mask. They've scaled it down for a newer design for him. Still a very much a Havoc design, just maybe not to the ridiculous level that it was before. The face is good. The eyes aren't bad. I mean, he has somewhat of a blank stare on his face. Like, I don't know. It also looks too like they've painted in the pupils and left the irises blue. But he has just a blank stare on his face. I don't want to say it again, but an expression could have gone a long way. More like a yelling expression. Maybe his mouth, like a gritting expression, would have gone a long way. It depends for me personally by the character. Some figures, like a Wolverine, for example, could have a grimaced face. A Rogue could have a smiling face. Some figures also just fit better by having neutral faces. Havoc, I think, could easily have had a yelling face or a grimaced face, something to convey the sheer energy that can be projected from the character. When it comes to his posability, though, actually, you know what? Just before you look at his posability, the other thing I did want to mention, though, is while the paint is good on the figure, I mean, there's not really much in the way of paint other than just the odd silver accents. The middle sphere, the middle decoration on his torso here, personally wish it was just a little bit brighter. It seems somewhat faded. Maybe faded is the effort or the outcome that they wanted for the figure, but it does seem a little on the faded side. All right, so I want to throw that in there because I knew I wanted to say it and I was going to forget it. I didn't want to forget. When it comes to his posability, his head does rotate all the way around. Head hinges also up and down for some much needed additional dynamic posing that you can get the figure in. I mean, you could get some really, really cool posing. All the more reason I think an expression on his face could have also really benefited this figure. He has the upper torso crunch in his torso, a rotation on the waist. As you saw, his arms rotate all the way around, as well as hinge out. He has rotation in his bicep. He has a double hinged elbow right there, hinge and hinge elbow. Has a rotation in the wrists, as well as a hinge back and forth on the individual hands. When it comes to his legs have a forward, back, and out motion, a swivel cut on the thigh, a double hinge on the knee, a rotation right where the boot band is in the silver, a hinge up and down on the foot, as well as, yes, an ankle pivot. No real considerable negatives for the figure. It's kind of like Rogue. There's no real considerable negatives to the figure. I wish that he had had a little bit more of an expression rather than more of a neutral expression that they ended up going with. And for crying out loud, can we not get different constructs, different things that we can add to the figure? I mean, you could rotate them the other way around so it more looks like a funnel that's projecting outward. But even still, they should be constructing these in ones for magic, and I think ones for energy mutant abilities. Shocker should not have this, and I really don't feel like Havoc should have had this. Again, that's just my opinion. All in all, good figure. I don't know if I would say one of my top 3, you know, because Spot always kind of thinks in the back of his mind, okay, this figure is going to probably be a contender for top 3. I don't know if I would say top 3, but certainly really is further adding to my feelings that this is a good wave, the Juggernaut wave here. Today's Toy Spot, we're continuing our looks at the Juggernaut wave from the Hasbro Marvel Legends series, and this was Marvel's Havoc. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more Toy Spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.